So there's a lot of talk about Black women being the bottom of the barrel in dating and in life in general. But I want to share something with you that might surprise you, but it might also give you some insight as to the dynamics not only between Black women and Black men, but between women and men in general. So my best friend does workforce development at a major educational institution here in Washington State. I'm going to read you exactly what she told me one day, but I'm going to leave out my responses to save time. She says, well, I just learned some interesting tidbits about the state of our children and academia. Boys have fallen way behind girls, like worse than I thought. By 10th grade, girls are a full grade ahead of boys in English, and they've caught up in math. Now here's where it gets interesting. Black girls are a full year ahead of Black boys in both math and English. And then she says, we've been trying to figure out why our boys aren't enrolling in college as much as girls are. 15 years ago, boys were 12% more likely than girls to finish college. Now girls are 15% more likely to finish than boys. Boys need a lot more direction and hand-holding to do shit than girls do. Verbatim. We think that there wasn't equal access to education back in the day, and women may have always been better, but now that we have equal access, there is reason to pursue that there wasn't before. And then she goes on to say, but this is bad news. They're going to have to do something about that. You can't have girls outperforming boys like that, because then they'll see education as a woman's thing and disengage. And educated women aren't interested in uneducated men for dating prospects. So this is where I kind of had to laugh. One of the proposed solutions is holding boys back a year so they start kindergarten when they're 6. So girls would start at 5. And then she says, but that won't go over well at all, especially when Black boys score the worst. And it's not going to help Black families or any family to pay an additional year of daycare. This is not some stuff that I found on the internet where the source is questionable. This is real shit that educational institutions are investigating and trying to figure out solutions to. So for all you women, keep this in mind the next time any man says that he's smarter than you, that he's better than you. Keep this in mind.
I've given what you talked about some considerable thought, and basically, my viewers know what I'm about to say. You know, it's that one question that flies in the face of everything you've just said. Who was the first teacher of the child? Okay, it's a staggering indictment of the mismanagement and poor care and parenting of these boys that they would find themselves supposedly, allegedly in that situation and whatnot. I don't think that it's like that across the board. The shit, I myself received a public education and whatnot, and I'm quite literate. All right. Over the years, a lot of outside forces outside of our ethnic community have conspired to take away things that other, uh, more privileged, groups have access to as far as educating their children properly and shit. Okay, all right. I take umbrage at the fact that you would use these supposed statistics simply to take a swipe at men, Black men. It shows that you have a juvenile mindset and you're not anyone to be taken seriously or whatnot. Okay, you're not anyone to be taken serious, and I would posit that if you really want to know what's going on with education, lack of resources for children equally or boys in general, you could possibly talk to people like Kimberly Crenshaw, who argued and fought against the initiative solely for Black boys, regarding education and resources and whatnot. She took that away and whatnot. There's no excuse for that. Okay, no one has pressed her on this. Okay, she should be excoriated for her egregious behavior when there were like thousands of programs and grants for young Black women to, accentuate themselves education wise and economically and shit. Okay, you guys are the stewards of our community and shit as it were, as it is today, and look at its condition and whatnot. Look at it's fast deteriorating. Okay, it's falling apart. It's rotting. All right, the foundation is on sand. It was not on anything solid because, well, who was the first teacher of the child and whatnot? I know that a lot of misandrous women and women with no, uh, you know, who can't see the forest for the trees. They hate it when I say that. Okay, they hate it when I say it. It serves as a answer to your bullshit, and it serves as a stopgap for misandry, rampant misandry, which must be stomped out in our community and shit. Okay, I must say, uh, if all you're gonna do is sit up here and read from your phone, alleged. I think you wrote that shit on your phone. I don't think anyone said that. Be quite honest. I'm just making an accusation. If you want to just sit up and make some baseless claim and shit that's not really supported by anything that we can see, you would have told us where we could find it if you really gave a shit. If you're gonna make baseless claims about, you know, taking a swipe at men because you hate men so much, I don't understand why you would sit up here with a wig on and copious amounts of war paint and shit, running your mouth and shit. I don't understand any woman that talks shit about a man, and professes and over glams herself up in a white woman's disguise and shit, talking crap. Why can't you just take off your wig and take off the war paint and take off those lashes, take off what looks like probably is fake contacts and shit, and whatever else you have and shit, and just sit there and shit and show us your true face, the face of misandry, the face of evil, the face of a failed steward of our ethnic community that has pissed away over 4 generations of viable partners and shit for marriage and partnership and companionship. Okay, you know, the dating pools are very shallow and shit because you guys made it that way. You abused the supply and shit. You corrupted it and shit through your own fucking unchecked hubris and shit. Okay, is it too much for you? All right. I realize I may be stumbling over some words, but I am much older than you. I'm a Generation Xer, Generation X statesman of this community and shit. I have to be honest and shit. In person and whatnot, I would not be this intellectual about my retort to you. Okay, I would use a lot of bad words, very directed at you. I would excoriate you. You know, but things being what they are, I thought I'd just chime in, right? Because I find you so fucking boring and shit. And the reason that I would do this video is because we need to have someone out there to fling the shit back, okay? Because you guys have been doing it for like fucking since the '80s, right? Almost 4 decades or more. Been flicking shit, And when I say that 4 decades, I mean the 4 decades since your brand of self-hatred and misandry has gone mainstream. Okay? All right? So you've been doing this. Your people, your descendants have been doing this shit. You know, your ancestors, I should say, I guess. They've been doing this shit for hundreds of years. Okay? And, I want to say some more shit, but, I'll have to, quantify that by telling you that I'm a misogynist anarchist, okay? And you fucking zombie. Okay, you motherfucking zombie. You are the reason that I make these goddamn videos. Alright, besides educating our young kings and giving them some counter talking points besides your your verbal Dred Scott, the female equivalent of Dred Scott, the female equivalent of Dred Scott in our ethnic black community here in the colonies, the slave quarters of America, 3Ks and said, have a nice day, biatch. I wanted to let it go, I really wanted to let it go, but I just got to go there, shit. Okay, I just got to go there. There is something really artificial and robotic about this woman and shit. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with her. It doesn't. It seems like it doesn't even seem like an emotional disconnect, or that she's just has that flat of a personality, man. She almost She reminds me of this shit, because I'm 54 and everything. I remember, okay, I remember this show I used to watch called The Bionic Woman. Okay, and on that show, uh, some of the one of the bad guys was this dude that was making like what today would be a sex doll and shit. They made fun of it in Austin Powers first movie and shit. And yeah, yeah, this chick, she reminds me of that. The robots on that show, they were called fembots. All right, she reminds me of a fucking fembot. She's like just dead or something. She's lifeless. I don't know what to say. I see her recording the TikTok and everything. I can see her hand moving to like, make each point. I guess she probably had to write it down and shit. Otherwise, she'll fuck up her lines. Okay, so that's what they are. They aren't based on any fucking reality. You know, but I've already disputed that. I just wanted to come back and shit because why not be a little as petty as sisters have been over the last what 3.5 to 4+ decades of this mainstream misandry that breeds contempt. You got a lot of amateurs out here. Every day they wake up, they don't realize they're the middle management for white supremacy, and they gotta. They got that clan like mindset. They gotta go find a nigga to fuck with. And the women are a lot of these women and shit. They like, I gotta find a black man to fuck with, man. Okay, that's what. Why else is she sitting up in front of? I wouldn't even think that she would be fucking with a black dude and shit. Okay, just to be quite honest, I don't want to. I'm sorry to any divestors out there and shit that don't want this bitch in your number. But look at her, man. She's artificial. There's something weird about her. You know. And I can say in my own personal history, I've met women like this, and it's always been weird and awkward and shit. And it's just like, what's wrong with you? It feels like you would literally have a fucking brick up in your rectum somewhere, okay? And that shit, you can't get it out. It's making you walk like an automaton. And this bitch straight up like giant robot with the fucking call that hoe with the watch, and then send her back when you see that it's fucked up. It's a recall, okay? She's a recall. Send this motherfucker back to the Tesla factory or something to have her get a maintenance check because her shit is off, man. There's something weird about her. I'm not trying to think about that. I think I've even turned down. I had an opportunity to have sex with a woman that acted like this and shit with a much, much better body and shit and turned it down and felt good about it afterwards. And I still laugh about it today and shit. It was just like this emotional disconnect. I was like, man, part of me wanted to just tell her, I think, maybe on our first date, we should go to a therapist so you can sit there and talk to her and tell her why the fuck you have a fucking a videotape inserted in the back of your head. I don't know what's on your shit. What's on your brain chip is fucked up. Okay? And I just had to come back because there's just something weird about her. It made what she said less egregious because I was just looking at her like she was a curiosity and shit. It was a carny type feel to her. Any women that I find like this and shit, I always think something's wrong with them and shit because it's not just a dry personality. I can put her side by side with, maybe I should have put up a picture of Candace Owens, another woman that has like this weird kind of dry personality, but Candace she's alive, like you could tell, like she believes what she says. She speaks with conviction and shit. And you can see there's something on back there, even though we don't know what it is and don't want to find out. But this chick is like weird, man. She's like the first run, the version one of what would come later. Okay, so that being said, I just refer to her as like she's weird. She's some kind of fucking fembot or something, man. She's like a robot, right? This is the one sex doll that no nerd wants to fuck.
This message has been paid for by the Dusties. Yes, the niggas you love to hate.